Helen, thank you ever so much for being our spotlight interview today. This is our third Flourish Coaching Circle, and I really want to be able to have an opportunity for the ladies of the networking circle to really be able to share their stories. I think it's really powerful to be able to hear that. And I know for you, Helen, your business started 2 years ago, but that was a much earlier sort of trigger point for you wanting to start up that business. So can you share your story in terms of how the Complete Health Clinic came alive?
Well, I started to be a colonic therapist, also known as colonic irrigation, in 2004.
Okay.
I worked for various clinics, found my teeth, got into it, thoroughly enjoyed it, and then probably 8 years later things started to change in the clinics, and I actually went away on holiday and thought, I'm not really happy. So if you're not happy, Helen, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
So I actually was on the patio, cheeky beer in one hand, piece of paper and a pen in the other, and I just wrote down everything that made me happy.
Yeah.
My background previous to me training to be a colonic therapist was marketing.
Okay.
So I went from marketing beer and tuna fish to bottoms, which is a bit of a change, really.
How did you make that transition from beer and tuna?
Beer and tuna.
Yeah, tell us the story behind that. What was it that prompted you to go from that marketing career through to
lots of things over a long period of time.
Okay.
Got a fantastic job. I was 23, first brewery rep that was female.
Yeah.
Which I cut my teeth on, learned valuable lessons, worked with amazing people. And I suppose really as the only female in the brewing industry in that particular time, I remember walking into working men's club in the middle of Wythenshawe Council Estate, and these committee men with a plume of smoke, couldn't see anything, and I'm there saying, oh, right, I'm your brewery rep, and they loved it. I learned very early on developing my relationships. I was very passionate about people, and I suppose really I gave very much the feminine touch, but I suppose working in a male-dominated industry, you had to be something that perhaps you weren't. And I started to feel a bit, well, that isn't me. I don't want to be a clone. I don't want to be, I'm not a man, I'm a female, and I've got a lot of personal attributes, and I give a lot of value. Went on to my dream job that I was so focused and hell-bent on getting, it was like an obsession. My name was trade marketing manager, which was brilliant. Company changed, working away a lot, and I started to get, within about 3 or 4 months of becoming a trade marketing manager, I actually got really run down, and I started to get quite ill. And I remember going to my doctors, and they went, oh, you've got depression, and that's why you're feeling the way you are. There's your prescription, there's your Prozac, get on with it. And at the time I'm thinking, right, okay, but I'm not really a depressed person, I don't understand what's going on. After a period of time where my health was really affected, I really struggled functioning. I did it because I had to do it, and there was no way in a mind of man I was going to.
And it feels like there was a sense of determination to really achieve that.
Absolutely. I mean, I did a sales and marketing meeting for 2 days with raunch tonsillitis. I think I went through 2 packets of Strepsils in a day. It was just like, why didn't you go home and admit you were ill? Anyway, as it turned out, I actually had developed an underactive thyroid. So I suppose that was the pinnacle light bulb moment of, gosh, you know, health. Start to research a lot more in it. During that time, my uncle was diagnosed with bowel cancer. He was my dad's twin brother. So that was quite, I suppose, a very, it was difficult because he's an identical twin. So every time I went down to see my Uncle Peter, I was like looking at my dad. And I was like, oh, flipping out. Touch that nerve. Touch the nerve. And he had great sense of humour, incredibly positive, and he handled it unbelievably well. Went into a hospice, received complimentary therapies, and we'd sit and he'd be like, oh, you know, this is lovely, and I'm having this, and it was a nice, you know, time that we spent
Yeah.
together prior to
And that was
passing away.
your introduction to complementary therapy.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
And I think, but it was complementary therapist with a purpose.
Yes.
It was just that little bit more, really. And I suppose because of the stress and strains I'd had with the corporate world, diet, flying around, sitting on the M62 for 2 hours, on, you know, because of a car crash, eating rubbish.
Yeah.
That's probably was a little bit more chubby than I am today,
really. So why did you choose specifically colonic hydrotherapy? What was it about that you wanted to specialise in? What?
I think probably because it was different. From the experience I had with my Uncle Peter, I also had developed an irritable bowel, 1 due to stress, 2 was a side effect of an underactive thyroid, and 3 had got salmonella when I went on holiday to Morocco. And again, it was that, you know, there's your tablets, you just got to get on with it. But one of the things that obviously I did realise is I do have the ability to put people at ease. It's an incredible personal treatment, and I do put humour into it, not undermining it, but just make people relax. And I think that was probably, that's what I wanted to do. And I was hell-bent on doing that. Was to get my mind sorted on something.
So do you think then that real sense of determination, that hell-bent attitude, has been one of the things that's really allowed you to be successful in growing the business?
Definitely. And the other thing I've learned, nothing is ever wasted. Because prior to me setting up a complete health clinic, I actually thought, I need to look at my finances, I need to look at my value, I need to look at my purpose. I actually set up a marketing business which was quickly disbanded. I love the idea of it all. Fantastic branding. Brilliant. I couldn't obviously market myself. Went to do it for about 4 months, and I went to my hairdresser's, and he went, "Got a bald patch here, Helen, at the back of your head." And I'm thinking, I'm stressed. I can't be doing with this. But that then allowed me to then look back and focus and think, well, actually, the marketing side of any business, doesn't matter what it is, you can, you know, duplicate it. You can take that, which was great, and I met fantastic contacts. And I suppose it gave me the confidence to say, hey, you can do this. What's stopping you? What's the worst thing that's going to happen?
So what else then do you think has allowed you to be really successful? Really that sense of determination. I think from what you're saying there as well, it's really reflecting on those circumstances and those situations and taking those learnings out of it. What else do you think has allowed you to be really successful in growing the business?
I've got to say, probably a supportive husband who's been amazing. He's always let me do what I want. You know, I've always been, he's always encouraged me. And I think probably that underlying determination that if you want something in life, you can do it. I've always been positive, but I suppose my journey of my learning and people I've met along the way have touched me in ways that, you know, I never thought possible. And that, you know, might have been someone recommending a book, or watch this, or just total outlook of how you change things. And I always wanted to develop and grow. I think having children has definitely helped with that, because I want to give them the tools that maybe I never had. For them to have a better life.
Brilliant. And are they part of your passion then, in terms of having your business?
Oh definitely. That shadow of a doubt. Although sometimes, you know, I am there late at night on my iPad, and they're like rolling their eyes, and you know, I am like, right, I'll be back in 3 hours because I've just got to go and treat a client. But that's up to me to manage and you know, do the best I can for them. Really.
So we touched there on your passion in the business, and also your children almost being the reason why. What else makes you passionate about your business?
The gifts I give to my clients. Actually, the colonic is probably a very small part, really, what I do. I have got clients I'm still treating now, or still come and see me from when I very first started 10 years ago. So that speaks volumes. I never understood the power of a testimonial until it was recommended that I do them, and I did. And then it was like, wow. And the amount of clients that have said to me, I read your testimonials, Helen, and that is why I've come to you. Which is amazing.
Yeah. So that almost sounds actually that your clients are reflecting your own passion, because they're talking so passionately
Yeah, very
about
much
you
so.
and the service that you
Definitely.
give,
Yeah.
that it helps you to attract that back in, which
Yes.
is fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have amazing people who walk through my
Yeah.
door. Absolutely, they're all a gift,
Yeah.
and they are lovely. And that sounds very cliche, probably a little bit cheesy, but I am really, really lucky to have the people that I have in my life.
Yeah. So what are your gifts then? If it's beyond, you know, you being able to give that actual service, you said that was a little bit, what do you feel completes that package? What gifts do you uniquely put into that service?
One is my energy.
Yeah.
And two,
Which you can most definitely feel, you know,
Yeah.
knowing you know, it's the
Yeah.
vibrancy.
I think non-judgmental.
Yeah.
You know, my treatment room are the 4 walls where they are safe and they
Yeah.
are secure, and people come to me with all kinds of reasons. And you know, I just think it's a privilege what they can tell me their deepest, darkest secret.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is, they always make people laugh.
Yeah.
And like I say, you know, with my treatment, 95% of your serotonin, i.e. your happy drug,
Yeah.
it's actually produced in your gut. So one thing I'll always guarantee is when you leave my treatment room, you'll always be smiling. And I think it's that, you know, people think, ooh, colonic, you know, you're going to be on all fours, you're going to be on with a full up your backside, you're going to be like a great big matron, and it's not like that at all. And that's one of the things, yeah, you'll get the knowledge, I will always find things out for you. If I don't know it, I know someone that will.
Yeah.
And I'll work with you, but it's a very informal procedure.
Yeah.
I think breaking down the barriers, I think, really.
Yeah. Fabulous. So, obviously you have got a really fabulous, secure business now, where you've got those repeated clients coming in, you've got referrals of people. What's the big vision going forward? How's your business going to grow from here?
Well, my big vision is to maintain what I've got.
Yeah.
And then I do want to do more public speaking.
Okay.
I'm not going to stop until I go on national TV and radio.
Yeah.
That's the long-term goal.
Yeah.
Although clients are like, oh my God, you will have time to do colonics. So of course I will.
Yeah.
I'll always make time for that. Also, I suppose, to look at money while asleep, the secondary incomes.
Yes.
What I put on my vision, and also from my Flourish group, is like products and things. So again, I'm incorporating and recommending. I'm not selling. Okay. I'm recommending as part of a healthy package. You know, if you need these, that's what I'd recommend.
Yes.
It's entirely up to you whether you want to do it, but this is what I would
But they're the things
recommend.
that are going to support them in that journey.
Absolutely.
Fabulous.
So I think, you know, looking at things like that, and I think next ebook. I don't know there to Kathy that does all my social media. An ebook, and it's that expert in what I do.
Yeah.
So to position myself to say that's what you want as a treatment.
Yeah.
That's the person you need to get into.
Fabulous. And what is the purpose of wanting to get on TV? What is it that you want to be able to share in that format?
I think my passion, really.
Yeah.
Passion for bottoms.
Passion for
Passion for bottoms. Yeah. Yeah.
And what questions do you have for Helen ladies? What is it that you think would be valuable to know from Helen?
Where is your room?
I have got 2 treatment rooms. One is at the Lowry Hotel in Manchester, and the other one is in Knutsford at Elite Health. So yeah, and I do late nights and weekends, so I am flexible.
Right.
So that's where I am.
I have a question. I've had clinics many times, but I often wonder the way that you are and the way that you know, you're amazing personality. Do you get men that come to see you?
Yeah, over 40% of my clientele are male.
Well,
when I say to my clients 18 to 80, builders to barristers, porn stars to gangsters, I am not joking. I've got such a variety of clientele, it's amazing. In fact, I was speaking to one yesterday because he's bringing 3 of his friends on Sunday. And he's like, oh, I was talking to such and such, Helen, because I'm doing some training with them. They send their best wishes to you. And I'm like, I love my world, because it's amazing. The recommendations that I get while I sip in, it's just, and they stay with you. You know, there was one guy and I said, he said, oh, how's the baby? And I went, he's 8. And he's like, oh, he said, has it been that long? And I went, yeah. And we'd figured it was about 6 years. And I said, but you came back to me. And it was lovely. And actually, he was talking about a wedding venue. Yeah. And I was like, oh, my friend knows that. Yeah. And he's like, oh, he said, is it a good one? I went, yeah. So my network of what I recommend when I've got them on that treatment bed is amazing. I think that's another thing. So yeah, I've had a few, invited to the Flourish group, and people look at you and think, oh, what do you do that makes you tick? Because
it's clearly breaking all those barriers down.
Very much so. Yeah. And
It's
also,
wonderful.
I'm inspiring health. Yeah, I'm doing it via colonics and complementary therapies. With what I recommend, but it's inspiring that complete
health